Question the person and its stories. Questioner.
Being awakeness, freedom is shouting, I am here, this is my natural state, how I really am, my real way of being, the real me. At the same time, I feel a limit on being free and awake. This limit is uncomfortable.
There is not any limit on your real nature. You are present and aware. This true nature that you are is, right at this moment, fully present. This approach is just looking deeply into what is here and now and realizing that what you are is, in fact, already absolutely free. The limits are ultimately imagined and not true at all. The mind creates and imagines limits and then suffers. But the suffering is only due to the fact that we have not been clear on what we are. We take the self-created limits to be true and real. This gives the feeling or experience of limitation, but it fades when scrutinized. For example, you are convinced there is a ghost in the room and are in a fright. But when you search for it, you do not find any ghost, and the experience of fear drops away. It is based on a wrong understanding. A little bit of investigation and clear seeing clears up the mistaken ideas, and the feeling of limitation is replaced by the natural freedom of your true nature. Imagining a ghost in the room is uncomfortable. This continues until you question the truth of it. Basically, we imagine we are separate from our own deeper truth and suffer under false assumptions. The moment you fall asleep or the mind forgets its problems, the limitation vanishes. This just goes to show that the limits are produced in the mind. They do not really exist, except at a conceptual level.
Being unawake is uncomfortable, unnatural. The limit or block to awakening has the flavor to me of a being hard issue. It is almost like I recoil from my natural state, like the blossoming truth is threatening and thus resisted. Thus, simplicity or oneness is prevented. So I don't get the rest and simple being that I so crave. It feels like this recoil response is unnecessary, but it arises compulsively. It seems like it arises prior to the mind, at the level of a body-emotion-heart response that is then reflected in the mind. It seems to me that the healing needs to somehow happen at the level of body-emotion-heart to be effective.
This all may seem to be true, but really it is hypothetical. From within the cage of imagined limitations and using the mind, which is the very source of the problem, we imagine escape routes and explanations. You are the natural state. You never deviate from it. There is no separation or problem. But you do not see it yet because you have not looked deeply enough into the root of the issue, which is the assumption that you are a separate person apart from your real nature of awareness. You say, thus I don't get the rest and simple being that I so crave. What is that I you are taking yourself to be? That is the imagined separate person. You, as awareness, are fully here and now. You cannot get out of it. There is no one to rest and nothing to rest in because that is what you are. You must deeply question this idea of being an entity apart from presence awareness. All the difficulties are for the I, and the difficulties continue as long as the I is not deeply questioned. Once it is questioned, the I is found not to exist, and all the imagined troubles are resolved once and for all. You have created a lot of conceptual distinctions among heart, body, mind, and so on. You also have the idea that there is a problem and the need for healing. The mind is spinning, trying to work it out, but the answer is not in the mind. You cannot use the mind to get free of the problems and riddles created by thought. It is a noble attempt, but bound to fail. This is really more of a non-verbal looking into the fact that you are not the imagined, separate person. Neither are you a victim of all the imagined problems and solutions that are based on that assumption. Even searching for a solution is just another layer added on by the person. Who else is in search of freedom but the person? Better to question the person. This is the sword that severs the head of the apparent hydra.
The wound smiles at me knowingly, holding the key to freedom, beckoning me to fully rest in love, to be loved, to recognize and laugh, to trust, to accept, to be perfectly kind, to allow myself as I am. That is what I most want.
This is still too much. First, you told a scary story. This one is a prettier story, possibly a noble and spiritual one. But notice how, woven into it, There is a subtle assumption that you are a separate person apart from presence awareness. There is nothing you, as a person, can do to find freedom because the person is the very cause of the problem. Whether the person steps backwards or forwards or paints himself as a sinner or a saint, he is still there, and he remains apart from the deeper truth that he longs for. The only adequate approach is to entirely dissolve the person and awaken to what you are and always have been, which is being, presence, awareness, consciousness, or whatever else you want to call it. Until you see this deeply, you are like a dreamer lost in a dream, and no matter what you do, you are still locked in the confines of your imaginary bondage. What you really need is to wake up from the dream of imagination and conceptual thought, which has you convinced that you are something separate from what you really are. This investigation will ultimately dismantle all your false assumptions and beliefs about yourself. You will find yourself stripped of your ideas and concepts, including your ideas of yourself. Then you will stand naked yet utterly free. You will attain nothing which you do not have right now. Only the veils will be removed, and you will notice what is present at the core of your being. It truly is here right now. Without the least struggle or effort, you are naturally aware and present. That presence awareness has no separation, bondage, limits, or problems. Just look deeply into this. Question every idea, thought, or belief that tells you your nature is anything different than this.